Hey bakers, welcome back to my channel. I'm Angela and today I'm going to show you how to make some amazing red velvet donuts. Now first of all we're going to make some vegan buttermilk by using 240 ml of plant-based milk and 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Give that a stir together and then we're going to let it sit for about 10 minutes until it curdles, and you can see here this is what it looks like once it's ready to use. So let's go ahead and make our donut batter. I'm starting with 240 grams of cake and pastry flour with 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, 140 grams of white sugar, 10 grams or 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and a half teaspoon or 4 grams of salt. Next we're going to finish off our wet ingredients, and I'm adding 30 grams of melted vegan butter to our buttermilk and also about 8 to 10 drops of red food coloring. So this is what's going to give the red velvet its color. You'll notice when I'm stirring it here that the color doesn't fully dissolve into the mixture. Don't worry about that, give it as good a stir as you can, but the rest of it will actually combine once we add it to our dry ingredients and mix it with our hand mixer. You can see already it's got a really nice color as well. And you might be wondering why we're using so much food coloring. Well, food coloring has a tendency to fade when you bake it into something. So that's why we've got quite a lot of coloring in this recipe today. Now you can see when you mix it with your hand mixer that it does come together really quickly as well. I didn't speed this up too much because I wanted you to see how quickly this recipe does come together. Give it a final stir with a spatula to make sure that everything is combined, and you can see the consistency here. It is ever so slightly runny. So this is the next and one of the most important steps for our donuts. You can see I'm using 2 pans here, each with 6 cavities. So we're going to make 12 donuts in total, and I am thoroughly greasing them with some plant-based butter. You could use a spray oil here if you wanted, but I always find the better that you can actually grease those pans and get into all of those areas of them, the easier your donuts will come out at the end. And you don't want to be trying to sort of carve any of those donuts out of the pan if they've stuck. Next, I'm going to show you my top tip for making donuts, and that's actually to transfer your batter into a tipless piping bag. This is so much easier than fiddling around with the bowl and trying to pour it in yourselves. You get a lot more control over the batter, plus you can also make sure that you get the same amount in every single one of those pans. So here I'm not twisting my bag closed, I'm just twisting it so that it won't come out the other end. I'm also not pushing the batter all the way down because we do need to snip the end off it and we don't want it to run everywhere. When you start piping, just go round in a spiral 2 times for each of the cavities. You can see that's probably just over halfway full, and because of the ingredients that we're using today, these donuts are going to rise really well. So this is about half of the mix that I've used here. Now we're going to refill the bag. So to do that without getting in a mess, take some paper towel, push any batter down back into the middle of the bag and then fold it over and pop it back into your mug. And then you can just open up the bag and fill it up again. So I used about half of the batter each time that I did this. So if you wanted to halve the recipe just to make 6 donuts, you could absolutely do that. Perfect. So that's nice and easy, mess free as well. This is always one of my favorite ways of filling my tipless bags, whether I'm using it for icing or batter like I'm showing you here. Let's go ahead and get that second tray piped. Give it a squeeze and then spiral it twice onto the next one, and just keep going until you have filled all 6 of them. So I should have mentioned as well, our oven was preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Once the pans are full, you want to give both of them a tap on the counter and then bake them for about 10 minutes until they look like this. Look how well they've risen. They look great, and they've kept their color as well because we put a lot of color in there. Now I haven't changed the coloring of my video to make them more red. This is the true color that they came out with. Now, after they've cooled down for a few minutes, we can take them out of the pan, and you can see how easily they're coming out. You could probably actually just tip the pan and they would fall onto the cooling racks for you. And you do want to make sure that those donuts are fully cool before you move on to the next stage, which is making the glaze for them. And for this, I'm using 220 grams of icing sugar and 50 grams of plant-based milk. Now, you'll notice, first of all, when I started doing this, that I actually didn't put enough icing sugar in. I miscalculated it when I weighed it, but you do want 220 grams in total. This is too runny, so I added the rest of it to it. And then you can see when you give that a nice mix up, it actually comes to a really nice glaze consistency. Let's have a slow look at it so you can see how it runs here. So it's not too runny in that it won't run fully off the side of the donut, but it will cascade over the side slightly to give it that really nice glaze look that we're looking for. Perfect. Now, my other top tip in this video that I wanted to share with you is that whenever you are glazing donuts, it's always a good idea to pop a little bit of parchment paper under your cooling racks so that that will catch all of the extra icing. As you can see here, you can see it coming off that bottom left one as I put a little bit extra on there straight away. And I'm just using the whisk that I whisked the icing with to actually pour that onto it rather than pouring it straight from the bowl. I think this is a really nice look. If you wanted to dip them instead, you could do that as well. And then let's zoom in. I decided to just add some sprinkles to 6 of them for my kids because they absolutely love sprinkles, and it's nice just to jazz them up a little bit. So there we go. We're going to have a look inside of it now so you can see how good the crumb is inside. Look at all those air bubbles and look how light and springy they are as well. These donuts turned out perfectly. I'm so pleased with them, and I really hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Let me know in the comments if you're going to have a go at making these, and also make sure you check out my other baking videos and also some of my ideas for Valentine's if you're wanting to make some treats for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.